have to conform and build a budget. We try to within the guidelines set forth by the Spending Affordability Committee, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And we're here listening tonight to the community members' needs and reflecting and hearing their priorities, and that's really important and foundation as far as building a budget for the public. And then finally, fiscal sustainability. Are we making decisions currently that are sustainable going forward and sustainable in the long term? So I did mention briefly the spending affordability limit, and this is a committee formed by the council that puts a guideline on what our operating budget cannot exceed by, basically, and it is tied to personal income. So in FY25, the current budget that we are in, we were allowed a 4.36% growth rate. That equated to about $118 million. And where that money went, we had 31% that went to CPS. We had 18% to our public safety, our general government, and other county employees. Our retiree benefits is a large portion of where that goes. That is an increase each year for our pension system. Our employees do put in to almost 14% of their salary directly goes into our pension system. So there is an employee contribution pension system. So it's very important that Baltimore County as an employer can provide a bargain for our employees. When we look at the 27% number growth, we have these are some of the additional areas that this funding went to in FY25. So as we look at the challenges, we have a new federal administration. There's a lot going on. We just talked about the amount of federal funding that we have on the line that we expect to receive every year to provide services to all of you. We have an uncertain state budget picture. Deficits. We know that they're trying to close that gap. Capital side, we have, if anyone is undergone a renovation, it's the same thing that you all are facing out there. We have increased costs for inflation due to labor and making our materials are more expensive. We've seen an over 20% construction cost increase since FY 2016. So keeping up with these existing capital projects on schedule and on time is challenging. When you all went to the polls in November, you voted on a bond referendum, and you'll notice that bond referendum was higher than in years past, and that is what we asked the voters what the maximum amount we can borrow is. Again, our goal is to use cash first and our credit card later, but we do have the authority to borrow up to that amount. If we have excess revenues, we will borrow that. We will use the cash instead of using the borrowing referendum. However, I will say at this time that that debt limit is basically more or less maxed out. So we have reached the point of the maximum amount that we can borrow. So this slide is the challenge that we have for FY26. And if you look on the bar on the right this is basically an estimate of the allowable growth that we think we're going to have for FY26 based on the revenues that we have coming in, based on future sustainability, things we just talked about, and based on spending affordability. So we have $127 million of growth, but we have $189 million in requests. The school board last night just passed a budget for the school system that left the superintendent's budget intact. So that $106 million increase is still in play. That does include debt service, but that is an over 10% increase that we have to deal with and look as we continue to move this on. When we talk about our future capital needs, we have $300 million annually that we need. These are for building replacements and capital renovations. We have major maintenance needs for our aging buildings, and we have immense road and infrastructure needs throughout the county. We're also looking at critical public safety infrastructure, additional infrastructure for our 911 center and other public safety needs. So our long term, when you add this all up over our 6-year program, we have about $300 billion in needs over school construction and the whole 9 yards. So to wrap up, we know that we will submit a balanced budget. We are committed to maintaining our AAA bond rating, and that's important as we are one of only 2% of counties in the country that have a AAA bond rating from all three major rating agencies that allows us to borrow when we have to at the lowest rates possible for one-time capital projects. So we're very proud of that. We want to maintain that. The ability to continue to maintain high fund balances over that 10% and lessen debt costs that's part of the strategy that they look at in our long-term planning. And we're prepared for tough decisions ahead due to this uncertain climate, but FY26 is going to be very, very challenging to put together a balanced budget. When we talk about our timeline, we are currently in our town hall process right now, hearing from the community. The executive will submit her budget submission to the council on April 11th. It's a Friday. Throughout the months of April and May, the county council will then review the budget in detail and hold hearings, public hearings on various agencies. And at the end of May, they will adopt a budget, and our fiscal year begins July 1. So we appreciate you all coming out tonight, and that concludes the budget portion of the presentation. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Alonzo Williams. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, County Executive and Director Reed. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Delegate Forbes. She represents the district also. Good evening. Again, thank you, County Executive and Director Reed. You will now have an opportunity to present your priorities to the County Executive. You have 90 seconds to make your presentations. Please, if you heard your presentation before, allow someone else to make their presentation so that everyone can be heard. At this time, we'll start doing the presentations. Thank you.
Benji's, I'm a teacher here at Parkville High School. Love it here. Shout out Maureen. She's here tonight. I'm speaking on behalf of TABCO, the Teachers Union. Our primary concern in this budget cycle is making sure that the second year of our 3-year negotiated agreement is fully funded. We know there's a lot of uncertainty this year. Everything we just talked about, all those issues, cuts to state public education funding, potential changes to revenue, etc. Our students and we, their educators, we really deserve the stability and predictability that funding that second year of our negotiated agreement provides. We really need to continue to recruit and retain great educators to make BCPS a world-class school system. One critical way to do that is to pay our educators properly, recognize their loyalty and seniority, and make sure that the agreements that have been made are adhered to. TABCO calls for the Baltimore County funding authorities to work together with the school system to fully fund that second year of our negotiated wage package. Just talking to one of our cooking teachers, comes from the private sector. She loves teaching, but she's really considering heading back and taking something that's just going to pay her more. Thank you for your time this evening.
Good evening. My name is Allison Myers. I'm the Executive Director of Special Education for Baltimore County Public Schools. I'm here tonight to ask you to prioritize funding for Baltimore County Public Schools, and specifically the special education services we provide as you face these difficult budget decisions. Dr. Rogers has made special education a priority within BCPS. This intentional centering of special education as part of our system improvement efforts has led to increased achievement for all students. We are making systemic gains, and funding the special education is critical to ensuring continued progress. The proposed FY26 budget prioritized funding for special education, specifically non-public expenses, critical related services such as speech and occupational therapy, as well as special educators. These funds reflect the actual expenses of the school system and are therefore critical to ensuring the provision of legally mandated services to our students. We are finally in a place where we are seeing progress for our students receiving special education services, and the funding included in the superintendent's proposed budget is essential to sustaining ongoing progress and compliance. Thank you.
Good evening. County Executive Klaus Meyer, Councilmember Attell, thank you for your time. I'm Lloyd Allen, him speaking as an individual. In 1999, I left Ohio specifically to teach at this school to serve the spectrum of students and programs that Parkville High continues to serve. Schools are the center of the community. You vote here. You probably learned how to drive in a high school parking lot. Ms. Astorita noted the dusk to dawn use of the fields in her remarks, and I heard someone else note the number of cars exceeding the number of people in this auditorium because schools are community hubs. During the pandemic, this school was still a physical hub for food distribution through the Student Support Network. But that's just talking about the capital, and I'm concerned about the operating. We can no longer do more with less. Schools provide safety, predictability, enrichment, and advancement for students, many of whom are already in the workforce and all of whom compose tomorrow's society. This requires safety and predictability for the adults. As an individual who thought that this year I could focus on instruction and student support, I'm disappointed that the 3-year contracts are in danger. Executive Klausmeier, I know how you value the schools because when in your district, I saw you or your representative celebrate every educator retirement and most graduations. Give the schools the stability that they and we need to provide stability for the students so that Baltimore County has a tomorrow. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joelle Bielski, and I'm the Chief Negotiator and Director of Staff Relations for Baltimore County Public Schools. My negotiating teams and I worked tirelessly with each of our 5 unions to negotiate fair and equitable contracts last year. We were able to reach agreement on an unprecedented 3-year contract with working conditions and wages that set us at the forefront of other counties in our state. This was a priority for our superintendent, Dr. Rogers, and places us in an advantageous position for recruiting and retaining staff members. If this budget is not funded, we will be forced to make additional cuts that will negatively impact student achievement and disrupt our forward progress. We are deeply concerned that if we cannot provide competitive salaries, we will not attract the high-quality teachers and support staff that we desperately need. We will not retain the amazing administrators who lead with excellence and foster safe and nurturing environments for 110,000 students. We will not be able to maintain our school buildings or efficiently transport students because we would lose staff who are the cornerstone of our system. I urge you to fully fund the BCPS budget so that we can continue the critical work of preparing students to thrive in college and careers. They are our future, and they, above all, deserve it.
Good evening. I'm Lori Taylor Mitchell, founder of the Student Support Network, a nonprofit operating in 21 county schools, including here at Parkville High School. We provide food, clothing, personal care items, and other necessities for students in need. Poverty in our schools has skyrocketed. 75% of all students in county public schools, over 82,000 students, live at incomes eligible for free or reduced price meals in school. Here at Parkville High School, 82%, nearly 1,400 students live in severe poverty. At Pine Grove Middle, it's 74%, and Pine Grove Elementary, 62% are in severe poverty. The low income levels are equally shocking. To qualify for a free meal in school, a family of 4 can make no more than $42,000 a year. But the income needed for basic expenses for a family of 4 in Baltimore County is now over $100,000 a year. Dozens of families wait for over an hour at a network partner high school to get a bag of groceries and household supplies. A local nonprofit just purchased a washer and dryer for a high school because students could not wash and dry their clothing. Hungry children and those worrying about when their next meal will be after leaving school cannot learn effectively. BCPS is not responsible for reducing poverty, but it has such a devastating effect on education that the system must address it. We urge the county executive and the council to create a county-wide coalition to address the crisis of student poverty with additional resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Cecilia Canchanya. I am a volunteer with the court-appointed Special Advocates of Baltimore County. I am also a resident of District 6. So I am here to talk about the services that really is urgently that our population 14 years old and older is in really need in because it's an age that they are ready to get age out of the foster care. So examples that I can give you of this really need to keep the budget for this program. For example, we served last year approximately 75 youth through the youth engagement position founded by the county. We help 2 age-out youth to find housing and pay for costs to prevent homeless, like housing and pay deposits. We support 1 youth in getting out of dangerous living situation. We assisted also 3 youth in finding legal representation for immigration status purposes. And we provide approximately 7+ training opportunities for volunteer people like me. So my career is as a nurse. We serve people in the community, and really this population in foster care are really in disadvantage. So I please ask you for your support to keep the support on this coming budget. Thank you.
Hi, Martin Nabali from the Overley Community Association. Last year, I feel like I was a little naive. I came in with 3 things on my plate. This year, just 1, same one from last year. Roads, east of Bel Air Road, traditional Cherry Heights neighborhood, East Overley, horrible condition. Just last year we heard budget, big problem, no money for roads. It's believable. Last night I heard from a board member that Linden Avenue was completely shut down and they're doing waterline work and no notice, and threats to tow the cars if they don't move them by 7 in the morning. And the concern that we have is not as much about the budget, not as much about another delay in getting attention to these roads, but the coin of the realm is really trust and being able to believe that when we asked for this for decades, Doris has a book of all of her correspondence on this specific issue, that it's going somewhere and it's not just yelling into the darkness. And if someone had said, oh, this utility work needs to be done before we can even think about doing the roads, it would have been more believable. So especially in the current climate, we really just want to be able to have a trust relationship with you, especially as our local representatives. And the roads still need to be repaved.
Sir, if we have our Director of Public Works and Transportation, if you want to loop up with her on the side, and maybe she can talk a little bit more about the process and where they are.
Good evening. My name is Rob DeFord. I'm speaking on behalf of the Baltimore County Land Trust Coalition, which supports the land preservation work of the 5 land trusts in Baltimore County. I want to thank the County Council and the Executive Branch for their consistent support of land preservation programs that protect our natural resources and enable farmers to keep their land in the family for future generations. Baltimore County is a national leader in land preservation. These are programs with broad public support, with bond issues receiving over 70% approval by voters in every election cycle. The popularity of these programs is due to the many public benefits they provide, such as open space for recreation, fresh local foods, a vibrant rural economy, historic preservation, wildlife habitat, and more. Conserved land is not idle land. Working farms contribute over $500 million to the county's economy annually. There are 3 requests that I have with respect to land preservation tonight. The first is that Baltimore County dedicate at least 1% of annual capital budget to agricultural and open space preservation, which would still be below what our neighboring counties are doing. Second, to increase the bond authorization for preservation to $7 million in 2026 and $8 million in 2028. And thirdly, to fund the County Rural Legacy Program at a minimum of $500,000 annually. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Milstein, and I am an instructional assistant here at Parkville High School. I work with 8 different teachers in 7 different subjects, and over my 8 years here at the school, I've seen staffing shrink, but needs have not. Doing more with less means teachers and staff are pulled in many different directions, It means that there isn't as much slack and flexibility when things change. It means that people in my position end up substituting or covering when teachers are out, short-term and sometimes long-term. Please fund the school system budget so that we can meet the needs of our students. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Eileen Andreas, president of the Rosedale Volunteer Fire Company. Over the course of the last few decades, I've witnessed the lack of attention given to the Baltimore County Fire Department. As call volumes and complexity continues to increase, the funding has failed to keep pace. This impacts our training opportunities, facility maintenance, capital facility replacements, and recruitment and retention. Volunteer fire companies have a loan fund that provides funding for the various volunteer fire companies to obtain a loan when purchasing new apparatus. The pool of money in this account has not kept up with inflation and therefore is able to fund less equipment loans each year. New fire engines cost about $1 million each. Ladder trucks approach $2 million. Many fire stations are aging and in need of updates and repairs to keep the fire and EMS personnel safe. Research has shown that many areas of cancer-causing exposures exist in firefighters' gear, equipment, and indeed even in the station living quarters. The county needs to invest funding to make sure our first responders do not fall victim to this invisible risk. Recruitment and retention of both volunteer and career personnel desperately needs funding. Without active outreach, our best and brightest young people will be scooped up by other agencies and corporations. Volunteer Fire Service provides a huge bang for your buck in Baltimore County. Volunteers work and train without receiving any pay. Ongoing recertification classes are all taken at their own time on nights and weekends. Please support the volunteer and career fire departments who work together in Baltimore County.
Good evening, Councilman Ertel and County Exec Klaus Meyer. My name is Jeffrey Budnitz. I'm speaking in my capacity as a founding executive board member for the Lake Roland Nature Council and as a board member of the Ruxton-Riderwood Lake Roland Area Improvement Association. I want to reiterate the comments I made last week and wanted to take a moment to compliment the work of DPWT, DEPS, and property management in particular for their exceptional work. I work with them on a regular basis, and they are great to work with, and I extend my thanks. I also wanted to extend my thanks to DeAndrea Walker and Kevin Reed for the heavy lift this budget cycle is based on our current financial times. Regarding my ask in these difficult financial times, that the Department of Recreation and Parks be provided the resources and human capital needed to be successful with their current reimagining initiative, that resources be provided to DEPS and DPWT to proactively address flooding and flood prevention in communities, including proactively keeping waterways clear of debris to prevent flooding, a request that was made last year, and that program open space funds be requested for the acquisition of 6101 Falls Road, known as the Davy Tree property, and for that acquired parcel to be added to Lake Roland Park. This acquisition has been suggested for 16 years and in two prior community plans adopted by the county. Thank you.
Mr. Budnitz, thank you again for your kind words and your continued advocacy. It's nice to hear some things for DPWT and property management and DEPS. So. Give them a clap, folks. There we go. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Borum, and I'm a vice president for the Baltimore County Volunteer Firefighters Association. My colleagues have testified in the recent weeks about the challenges that we're facing, like the 23% increase in requests for service and only a 6% increase in funding, or the rising inflation that has outpaced our budget, leaving us in a net negative. But I want to bring you a different issue to your attention tonight. Stand by for a medic. I want you to remember that phrase. It means there isn't an ambulance available for the call. It's a common occurrence to have an ambulance responding from Parkton to Parkville or Catonsville to Rosedale. The Baltimore County Fire and EMS system, volunteer and career, is struggling to provide sufficient service to the citizens of this county. This is what happens when fire and EMS is disproportionately underfunded. It means that you or your loved ones may not get the help you need when you need it. 6 minutes. That's the time it takes for a cardiac arrest or a major bleed if you don't get help for your injuries to be irreversible. And make it work. We've heard that. We've heard it over the years, and we do, but we can't anymore. So I ask tonight that you'd hear this. We are at critical mass for the fire and EMS service in this county. And if it's not addressed, if we don't become a priority in your budget, there will be tragic outcomes that were completely avoidable. Thank you.
My name is Matthew McGlone, and I'm the president of the Ruxton Riderwood Lake Roland Area Improvement Association. We represent over 4,000 households and just under 1,000 dues-paying members, and I have a rather unusual request. I'm here to ask the county executive and county council to not fund something. The planning division of the Department of Public Works recently finished a feasibility study connecting the Jones Falls Trail in Baltimore City and the Torrey Brown Trail in Ashland. The study recommended an alignment for the paved accessible bike and pedestrian path that would run along Roland Run from Joppa Road south to Lake Roland Park. Our community opposed this alignment as it would do irreparable damage to environmentally sensitive wetlands along Roland Run, would eliminate a broad swath of woodlands cover for the stream, and would be built in an area that's very subject to flooding. The construction would exacerbate that flooding. The study also makes no provision for trail access parking, which would result in additional vehicles parked in the narrow roads of our community. Our community does not oppose connecting the trail with the NCR Trail. On the contrary, we have supported this concept for many years and have endorsed an alternative alignment that runs through our community. This alignment has been put forth by the Lake Roland Nature Council to connect Lake Roland's Red Trail to the Meadowwood Park at Joppa and Falls Road. And this combined trail that would run through along an abandoned rail bed. We've declared our support for the Meadowwood Trail many years ago and included it in our community plan, which was reviewed by the Planning Department and approved by the County Council. We would ask that the county not fund any further engineering or studies for their alignment along Roland Run. Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. Good evening. My name is Leon Thomas. I'm a USA Racquetball certified coach, one of 50 in the United States, and I stand in support of the racquetball program at the Northeast Regional Rec Center, which is about a mile from here in District 6. First, I want to thank you for supporting the Department of Parks and Recreation, particularly your dedication to sports. And I'd also like to thank you for providing facilities like the Northeast Regional Rec Center, which allow kids to participate in sports year-round. And as the head coach of our program, the volunteer coaches and I enjoy spending time with the over 60 kids in our program. And we want to encourage you to continue to support sports, but not only team sports, don't forget untraditional sports. Sports like soccer, lacrosse, volleyball, and cheerleading, they're known, but there are other individual sports that also mean a lot to families. Studies show that kids who stay actively involved in sports, particularly individual sports, where coaches build strong relationships with both the kids and their families, the kids perform better academically and improve their social skills. I have families that will give you support letters that tells you that this program and other individual sports are meaningful to them. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Coach Leon. Thanks for all you do.
Hi, my name is Maureen Tesoro, and I work for Ruxton Riderwood Lake Roland Area Improvement Association. I'm here to advocate for funding a crosswalk across Charles Street at Stevenson Lane with a sidewalk added so people can walk north to Woodbrook Lane where there's a pedestrian entrance to Lake Roland Park. Charles Street is a state road, so MDOT involvement is needed, but we're asking the county to fund the sidewalk on the west side of Charles Street so people can walk from Stevenson to Woodbrook Lane. This project has been part of our community plan for several planning cycles. It was mandated by the Baltimore County Planning Department in order for our area's community plan to be adopted. At the March 2023 County Planning Board meeting and public hearing, $500,000 was put into the Planning Board budget request for a crosswalk at that location. The crosswalk has the ongoing support of our association as well as Rogers Forge Community Association, as it will provide walkable access to the park for many residents in the area. We are here asking again for this crosswalk and sidewalk from District 6 into District 2. Thank you.
It should be, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Vicki Collins, and I am President and Chair of the Land Preservation Trust. You might know us, we conserve land in northwest Baltimore County, and we own Schwan Downs, and please come visit this spring. First, I would like to thank you for holding this forum and the support you have given to the MPRP, and I think you probably know the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project Challenge in North County. It means a great deal. And I know, you know how much everyone is working on that. I have two brief comments. First, we hope the county will continue to uphold the tradition of supporting both its rural areas alongside of the urban. The rural areas are productive. Sometimes people forget that farmers actually grow food, and the conserved open spaces, be it forest or field, filter the water which supplies our reservoirs, the drinking water. So it's easy. Food and water, plus every dollar spent on food grown in the county recirculates as $1.50 to $2.50, adding to the county's economy with very little cost to the county itself. As an aside, when I was looking at the maps for looking at the MPRP challenge, I saw that all of the watersheds in the Piney Run Rural Legacy area supply Loch Raven Reservoir, just north of us here. Second, I hear rumors that the URDL, the Urban-Rural Demarcation Line, is up for debate. I am not sure the county is prepared to add water, sewer, roads, and schools if the line is altered. It is 5 times as expensive for the county to maintain developed space as it is to provide the limited services needed in rural areas. In fact, one view might be that the areas outside the URDL are helping to subsidize investment inside the URDL. It's a great deal. So, thank you. Food, water, open green space.
Oh, hi, everyone. My name is Jerry Withers. I live in Baltimore County. I have several issues I'd like to discuss. The first one is I write a lot of articles, political articles, and I've been having a problem communicating with the Baltimore County executive, various councilmen, and other department heads. If I do get an answer, it takes weeks, and I normally am not given a good answer. My second item that I want to discuss tonight is the steady increase in the property taxes in Baltimore County, which is a byproduct of the reassessment process. Effective January 1st, 2024, the assessed values of affected properties went up an average of 26% in Baltimore County. By any standard, this is a very large increase. And as far as my opinion, this is not stopping in the county anytime soon. These are the talking points. Talking points is, how can everyone afford these increases along with Governor Moore's various new fees and tax increases? Also, the high cost of living created by the former Biden administration. When was the last time someone in Baltimore County government looked into this? Anyway, I think this should be a high priority.
Sir, if I may, regarding the property taxes, again, those are assessments by the state, right? And if you are eligible and live in your home, you should be eligible for the homestead tax credit. And there's also variable other tax credits that we have.
It doesn't make that much difference.
Well, it caps you at 4%, and if you're eligible. So that's something that we have on our website, and we're happy.
That doesn't make that much difference. You see, See, the elected body in Baltimore County is the Baltimore County executive and the council members. That's their job. The assessments, I've had arguments with the assessments department. They take and they reassess. They give those assessed values to the Baltimore County. And it's the councilman and the county executives, basis to review those and maybe reject them, but they're not doing it.
Good evening. My name is Marcus Smith. I'm the president of the Parkville Patriots youth football program through the Parkville Rec Council. I've been coaching for the last 21 years, and literally my job when I took over the program was to bring the community closer and have an engagement with the Rec Council. This has been going great, but it's also turning into, just like everything else, everything is going up. I have a lot of families that want to support their kids. They want to put their kids in youth football, but unfortunately they just can't afford it. I don't like to keep consistently raising the price and cost of registration because it's not good for a lot of the families who also have to send their kids to private school, also have to provide food on the table for the kids as well. Again, what I'm asking for the county to consider in their budget is to help the Rec Council with sporting equipment. The cost of helmets has gone through the roof pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, a cost of a helmet maybe about $80. Right now, the cost of a helmet is about $235 per helmet. This is hard for me to be able to get all of these kids and to keep them safe. This is what I'm asking. I don't want to keep consistently having to keep spending a lot of extra money that we don't have in a budget to provide safety for these children. Also, I don't want the children or the families or any of these kids to get hurt and have to come to the county and have to pursue some type of lawsuit. So I'm trying to keep all the costs down, but I'm asking for the county to consider putting that in the budget to consider giving the Rec Council's funding for safer equipment. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Alistair Mackay, a resident of District 6. First, I just wanted to thank you for the budget presentation. I learned a lot tonight. What I came here to do was to really shout out to the Parks and Recreation Department. It's really great that the county has parks. I make a lot of use of Lake Roland Park, of Seminary Park, some others. We appreciate the work that goes into it, work that can go to make them better. Honestly, I'm a senior citizen. It's not going to mean much for me, but for my kids, grandkids, and for neighbors and friends, thinking even during these very difficult times, the parks would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I know Director Smith appreciates the kind words, Rec and Parks.
Good evening, County Executive Klaus Meyer, Councilman Ertel, Director Reed. I'm Sharon Keene, President of the Chesapeake Gateway Chamber of Commerce in Eastern Baltimore County. In 2024, the Planning Department successfully renewed a 5-year sustainable community designation for Hillendale, Overley, and Parkville, setting the stage beautifully for reinvestment and revitalization. We wish to sincerely thank the county for providing ARPA funding to ensure that we have immediate resources needed for organizing and engaging partners and beginning this process. We also wish to congratulate the county on obtaining both a business facade improvement grant and a demolition grant from the state, 2 giant steps forward. Over the course of this year, we'll work with the county to pull together a diverse group of business and community representatives from Hillendale, Overley, and Parkville to serve on a chamber committee similar to the one we created in Essex. This task force will be charged with determining priority needs, identifying and applying for grant opportunities, and initiating the facade improvement program. By the end of this year, we anticipate that the need will have reached the level that a designated champion will become essential to ensure the program's continued success. Our request is that you please include in the budget funding for the chamber to hire a staff person by January 1st of 2026 to carry the work forward and leverage additional funding sources. We had tremendous success with this model in Essex and plan to replicate it for these communities. We look forward to collaborating with you and the professionals in various departments to begin to reimagine for Hillendale, Overley, and Parkville. And if there is anyone here this evening that would like to be involved in this process, we would love to have you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Annette Karunja, and I have grown up here in Baltimore County, and I am glad to have the opportunity to speak to you all today. I was very excited to come today and connect with some of the different departments that have helped the community that I'm a part of, which some of you know is the Kenyan community, that we have a community center within the district in Middle River, but we have a lot of people from this community within Baltimore County, throughout Baltimore County. I'm here to ask for two things. One does not require much finances for the budget, and that is just to create more accessibility when it comes to these community meetings. Being able to participate virtually and being able to see what was discussed in these meetings is very essential for families that do not have a traditional 9-to-5 schedule, and also for families that have children. I want to commend my children for behaving so wonderfully this evening and allowing me to take their evening time with me to come and speak to you all. The second thing that I would like to discuss is the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which is the reason why I was able to connect with so many programs that Baltimore County provides, such as the Department of Recs, such as being able to get grants from the Department of Aging for our seniors. Things like that are only possible because there was a point of contact for a community that otherwise feels disenfranchised by institutions and governments and buildings that are otherwise scary for them. And so I just want to be thankful for the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and specifically for Juliana. You've done so much to make sure that we get the resources that we pay taxes for. Thank you. Your work, there's not enough words, and she does not get paid enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we continue, we have reached the 8 o'clock hour. However, County Executive has asked that she hear as many of the presentations as possible. If you've already heard your budget presentation, or someone else has spoken on behalf of something that you want to talk about, please allow other people to speak, and you can always send your emails to townhall@baltimorecounty.gov. Thank you. We'll extend for a few more minutes as the county executive has requested.
County Executive, Councilman Artell, thank you so much for extending the time, first of all. Good evening. My name is Dave Conrad. I'm here speaking as the chair of the recently formed Community Task Force that's working in partnership with the Baltimore County Public Library and bringing a new library space to the Middle River community. County Executive Klausmeyer, you spoke at the beginning in your comments this evening by sharing how crucial the investment in education is in the future of Baltimore County. The proposed Middle River Library is a unique opportunity to fulfill that goal with a very little investment. You're going to hear a lot of great ideas. We've already heard a lot this evening. Why is this any more important, or why should we spend money on this as opposed to some of these other deserving things? Director Reed mentioned and shared with us that the fiscal challenges will require that we find ways to do more with less in the coming year. This project proposes a public-private partnership with the developer Greenlee community that will allow us to construct, open, and have available a 25,000 square foot library space within 18 months. The developers offered to fund the upfront construction and maintenance of the new library and lease that space back to the county over the next 25 years. This makes it an operating cost, not a capital budget. The developers at Greenlee have a solid track record of partnering with municipalities in Baltimore County. They have 5 locations within Baltimore County alone where they've partnered with Baltimore County Public Schools, Department of Health, Board of Elections. We would have a higher quality and standard of development within Greenlee because of the overlay there. Lastly, we have broad support from the residents, the community leaders, our political representatives, and the Baltimore County Public Library itself for this project. So I hope you'll consider including funding for this project in the upcoming fiscal budget. It's a good way to really stretch our money and get the most bang for our buck. Thank you for your time.
County Executive Klausmeyer and Councilman Mike Ertel, thank you for this opportunity. I am George Stover, President of the Fullerton Fireworks Foundation. The Fullerton Fireworks Foundation plans, promotes, and executes the annual 4th of July celebration in the Overly Fullerton area of Baltimore County. The event is supported by nearby communities of Overly Fullerton, including Linover, Overly, Elmwood, Belmar, and our neighbors in Perry Hall, White Marsh, Parkville, Rosedale, and Northeast Baltimore City. This year will this year, 2025, will be our 62nd year celebrating our nation's birth. The foundation is a nonprofit organization run entirely by community volunteers and has built one of the largest non-government sponsored fireworks program in the region. Donations are down. Historically, we have started the year with a reserve of $20,000. This year, we've started with only $5,000. We need your help so that we may continue providing folks in East Baltimore County with an event that celebrates our nation's birthday. Thank you.
Hi, Sandy Triolo. I'm in Rosedale. Thank you, all of you, for your service to our community. It's important, and I appreciate you all. My focus is on access to community green spaces and protecting our existing tree canopies, which reduce urban heat and protect local wildlife within the Erdel. Please don't get rid of the Erdel. In our district, I see roadway trees, park trees, backyards, undeveloped areas with trees drowning in English ivy, bittersweet, and more. Yet when I inquire, no one seems to be responsible to maintain them, to save them. Roadway and property line trees that are on the edge of parks, for instance, introduce invasive vines further into the park. This issue is repeated throughout the county. Our small streams, which feed into our watershed, such as Red House Run and Stemmers Run, don't seem specifically cared for. These streams are surrounded by older trees and are filled with local wildlife looking for a safe place to live. The 2020 master plan made clear that our community prioritizes access to green spaces and wants more of them. My request is for better coordination and collaboration between agencies to address the sad state of our existing tree canopy on roadways, parks, and to better educate the public and to value and create these green spaces for our communities. At Red House Run School, elementary school, there's an 11-acre track with a trail and a stream ready to be an urban forest for the local community. Please consider it.
Good evening. My name is Jaleese Ortiz Corral, and I am a member of the Latino Racial Justice Circle. I am urging you to increase funding to nonprofit organizations serving Baltimore County's immigrant communities. These organizations are under increased threats from the Trump administration and have historically been underfunded by Baltimore County despite serving our residents. Our tax dollars should not be used to support federal immigration enforcement. The immigrant community contributes to the well-being and prosperity of Baltimore County, and how the budget is distributed should reflect that. It is time that Baltimore County have a fully funded cabinet-level Office of Immigrant Affairs to coordinate the county's agencies' efforts to improve immigrant integration and inclusion, to work with partners through the community, and to ensure that the voices of immigrant communities are heard at the highest level of county government. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Steve Redmer. I'm the president of the Baltimore County Professional Firefighters Association. If we're going to forego my prepared statements because I want to give everybody else time here, I just wanted to make one comment. I wish I was here asking you to fully fund promises that were made to us to keep us at the forefront of other departments in the state. But we're not there. I'm here to beg you for the proper funding so that we can provide the most basic core services that a local county government should provide to their citizens. We're not there yet. We need your help. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrea Marsh. I'm with Goucher College, and I'm also a resident of District 6. Goucher College is really committed to being a community partner. We have partnerships with BCPS. We have a Futuro Latino Learning Center. We work with the Road to Freedom Trail and Edenwald Senior Living, and now also we are proud to have White & Turner have their headquarters on our campus. Daily, hundreds of residents of Baltimore County come and walk, jog, play tennis, ride their bikes on our campus, and we've been grateful to the county for the support they've given us for making sure that these public pathways and trails are open to everybody and improved. We're now asking for to be considered for a little additional funding to match funding that we are putting in order to improve safety and accessibility and upgrade those trails further. We love having people on our campus. Most of the people that walk on our campus are not associated with the college, so we really love the fact that we are sort of almost like a county park for everybody to take part of. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Hudson, and I represent the 6th District on the Baltimore County Commission of Veterans Affairs. As you may know, our county has the 3rd largest veteran population in Maryland, with over 42,000 veterans calling Baltimore County home. Our commission's mission is to advocate for those veterans and their families and to connect them to resources through education and outreach. Since the commission restarted in 2023, we have assisted scores of veterans in that endeavor. This year, I ask your support as the commission focuses on 3 important initiatives: continued support for our crisis intercept map implementation, which will help our government and external partners support veterans in crisis. Second, continued funding for the now 3rd annual Veterans Day celebration and resource fair at Towson University, as well as a small stipend to help with out-of-pocket cost. Third, support for Veterans Treatment Court, which will help our veterans community suffering from PTSD, TBIs, and more to navigate the legal system with emphasis on treatment. These programs will work to improve the lives of veterans and their families, not only in this district, but across the county. I thank you for your continued support for our commission and veterans and the families we serve. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for extending the time to hear us. My name is Nathan Coffey. I'm a Towson resident, and I live on Stevenson Lane. Stevenson Lane is a highly trafficked road for children walking to Stoneley Elementary, Dumbarton Middle School, and Towson High School. I'm here on behalf of a coalition of the surrounding neighborhoods asking for a special authorization from the county executive to build traffic calming measures on Stevenson, namely raised crosswalks and low-profile speed humps. This is a simple solution that'll have an immediate impact and create daily value for your constituents. On nearby Register Road, the former county executive and Councilman Ertel implemented this solution to great success and made an immediate difference. I'm asking for your support in authorizing a special permit to do this. I'm sure your staff have told you you've got a large volume of emails from the surrounding neighborhoods asking for this. We have people here asking for it now. Thank you, Councilman Ertel, for your support, and County Executive, I hope you will as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my neighbors, we are here tonight to discuss the negative impact that the Bula Hookah Lounge has had at 1728 Taylor Avenue on the residents of our community in Parkville. I've lived in the community now 12 years, and my neighbors in the back have lived there for 40 years. For the sake of time, I will summarize what has been happening that has truly disrupted our way of life. Huge traffic disruptions, cars parking in the middle lanes of Taylor Avenue, racing up and down our streets, taking all of our parking spots to the point that we have had to pathetically buy traffic cones to save our spots, and we cannot leave our homes after 9 p.m. at night or else we cannot park there. These patrons that do park on our street will throw their alcohol, liquor, beer, cans, everything you can imagine onto our properties that we take very good care of. There's obnoxious music noise levels at all hours of the night. They are supposed to close at midnight, but they continue to blast and thump the music. And for those that serve the community, such as myself, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. and when I was kept up until 3 a.m. with this music blasting. There are fights on the end of our street and crowd gatherings on our block that are scary for us to have to deal with, hearing these people screaming. We don't know what's going on. And I could go on and on and on. I want to thank Councilman Ertel and Heather, thank you, Adam Whitlock, Tamika, and the Baltimore County Police. You all have heard us, so thank you.
You guys hear me? Hi, I'm Kristen, and my name's Candace, and we're students at Parkville High. Thank you. We are a product of the future. I've been in Baltimore County my entire life. I've only know school here. I recently got into Penn State, and that is thanks to Baltimore County. We need quality teachers. You know, I see as, I guess, the budget has gotten smaller, so we're losing teachers. You know, there's talk of money, money, money. I don't see it. You know, I haven't seen change, haven't seen it. I watch as my underclassmen come in, and they're terrible. They lack quality teaching. They don't get it, and it's not fair. You know, there's nothing forcing, kids don't want to be teachers. because there's no money in it, and the amount of work they do, they don't get paid for it. Teachers complain about it. I hear it all the time. I'm thankful for every teacher that I've ever had because somebody has to do the work. But in the future, no one will do the work. I don't want to do the work. A lot of people here don't really want to do the work. There has to be a promise of something to keep teachers in schools. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Katie Rogers. I'm the coordinator for the Parkville Women's Adult Volleyball League that is probably one of Parkville's longest running leagues at 45 years now, I think. I want to say thank you so much to Executive Klausmeier for supporting Parks and Rec. My experience with Baltimore County Parks and Rec has largely been very positive, and I applaud the changes that the county is doing to try to protect youth sports in the county. However, I want to raise something that I think was maybe unintentionally overlooked when the new structure was put into place. As a rec program, we are being treated in the same way that adult for-profit programs are being treated and charged accordingly. Unlike programs like Volo, for example, who will charge $200 or $300 per person per season to play and then inexpensively use rec spaces to make profits. As a rec program, we don't collect any funds directly. The Rec Council collects all of our funds, distributes them only for expenses, and if there's any extra, it always goes back to the Rec Council. The new changes that are set to go into effect next year will increase our fees by 360%, which is going to cause us to more than double the fees that we have to charge the adults that we pay. We have between 100 and 120 adults that use our program every year, and I would ask that you do two things. Number one, go back to an hourly charge instead of a per person per season charge for them, because right now the 100 people that I very efficiently get to play every week in a 4-hour time span play as much as a 20-person program who maybe plays 3 times a week in that same time. So secondly, I would ask that you would distinguish us from an outside for-profit entity. Thank you so much.
Bob Smith, our Director of Rec and Parks.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Mercer. I'm from the Overly High PTSA. I want to thank you for extending the time and allowing us to be heard. My concern is that Overly has 11 trailers currently, with 6 to 10 trailer additions coming by the next school year commencing. That puts 20 to 21 trailers at Overly High. Due to the ESOL students returning to the school. Our facility is already over capacity. These trailer additions not only provide more safety challenges, but do not provide any relief for other needs, such as bathroom facilities, safety measures, having to leave out of the living cottages and returning to the main building, walking without security during that time in the rain and snow and hail and whatever else Mother Nature may present, just to use the restroom. Our building has presented major electrical issues with the outdated and dysfunctional wiring. We are suffering with roof issues and floods, so I just want to ask that the funding that was previously approved for Overly High through the BCPS budget be approved again to ensure BCPS does not reallocate or lose its ability to build us a new school as promised. My question is, what is the process for determining if school budgets will be cut, and will you take into consideration the schools that are already overcrowded and underfunded?
I can address that, ma'am. So the county and the school system underwent a multi-year improvement plan for all schools that put an equitable lens on how we build out schools from high schools to middle schools, and we are still working down that process. So that is our roadmap as we move into the future into this capital program.
Thank you. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is the sidewalk issue. We need sidewalks and traffic calming devices in front of Overly High. We have students that are being struck by cars. They are riding through that roadway as if they're on 695, and it's completely unsafe. I know, and I want to thank Mr. Ertel for helping us try to address that issue, but it is still outstanding, and safety is a major concern. Thank you.
And Crystal, we're, the side, you want to?
It happens to be a state road, but we've been working closely with them on it, and they did just send us an email this week to say that they're moving forward on the sidewalk project in front of Overly High School. So we've heard you, we've been pushing on it, and we're happy they're funding it.
Thank you.
My name's Dave Pittenger. I'm a trustee at the Natural History Society of Maryland in Overly, and I'll try to talk real fast because you're great to extend the time a little bit. We're having a very busy spring. We're just finishing up our Woolly Mammoth exhibit. Next week is the last week for the public to come see it, and we appreciate Councilman Ertel and County Executive Klausmeier and Senator Jackson for all your support. We would hope that when you can, you would also, we're about to launch our renovation to completely redo the exterior of the building in the next month, and that'll be done by fall. But then we're going to head on to our next phase, which would do the inside, and we're hoping you will consider capital improvement money for that as well. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes. Good evening, County Executive and fellow residents of Baltimore County. Soy Edwin Perez. My name is Edwin Perez, and I'm a member of the Latino community and an educator with Baltimore County Public Schools, formerly of Parkville, now of Perry Hall High School. Our community thrives on diversity. Immigrants are not just a part of our story, they are our story. They contribute to our economy, enrich our culture, and strengthen our neighborhoods. Yet navigating complex systems and accessing essential services can be a daunting challenge for newcomers. That's why robust funding is critical for the creation of a fully staffed, fully funded Baltimore County Immigrant Affairs Office. Immigrants make up more than 14% of the county's population, yet it has been historically underserved. This office will provide vital resources, language access, legal assistance, know your rights workshops, and crucial support in integrating into our community. It will connect families with healthcare, education, and employment opportunities, ensuring everyone has a chance to succeed. Investing in this office isn't just about compassion, it's about smart policy. It's about building a stronger, more inclusive Baltimore County. When immigrants succeed, we all succeed. Let's invest in our future. Let's continue to invest in a fully funded and fully staffed Baltimore County Immigrant Affairs Office. Thank you. Gracias.
Hello, my name is Tevis Tsai. I'm a member of BaltPop, formerly known as Baltimore Strong Towns. We advocate for walkable, bikeable neighborhoods in Baltimore and Baltimore County. Speaking for myself, I bike to work because of the benefits to my health, my wallet, and our environment. I believe that others would make the same choice if it were safe to do so. Unfortunately, a large number of the roads in our county are unsafe to do so. Take, for example, where I work at Towson University. We have 20,000 students. That makes for a lot of pedestrians and cyclists, and yet York Road is a very high-speed corridor. It makes it treacherous to cross. We desperately need traffic calming and bike lanes throughout our county. Doing so just along the York corridor could make an artery between our university population and the many merchants and businesses we have in Towson Circle. In any event, I feel the county should prioritize micromobility wherever possible. I think all of us dislike car traffic, and one of the best ways to decrease car traffic is to ensure that there are safe and viable alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, County Executive Klausmeier and Councilman Ertel. My name is Patty Nichols, and I'm here tonight to ask you in this most difficult budget year to safeguard the Fair Election Fund. People of Baltimore County are fatigued of having deep-pocketed donors run the county, and they voted by referendum to publicly fund elections for the county executive and the county council for this next election in 2026. People are cynical and disengaged because they see public office as a grift, and I know you've heard me say that before. So I'm asking you to make sure that democracy stays alive in Baltimore County when it's at risk all over the nation, and please safeguard our public funds for the election. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tommy Mustarka. I work for Barnum County Public Works, the Highways Division. All I'm asking for is when you do new developments, you got new streets going in, we can't even get down with a plow, you can't even get down with an ambulance or a fire truck. Make sure between each vehicle, parked vehicle, we have a 12-foot opening. We go out there at midnight, cutting down trees, plowing snow. It's very hard. These streets, the new developments are getting smaller and smaller. We have to hire pickup trucks and to take care of these roads. Also, in the Fullerton area, you have all these new developments coming. Is there any way can we get a new firehouse with all these new Sears, all these new houses over here at White Marsh, over here on Walsall Boulevard? You have all these new houses with not enough fire and ambulance for us.
Sir? Sir?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for extending the time. We do appreciate it. My name is Michael McCann, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors of Neighbor Space, which is a nonprofit land trust that was formed back in 2004 in collaboration with the county. Our mission is to enhance the livability of county residents by protecting, restoring, and stewarding parks, gardens, trails, and natural areas in partnership with local communities. We currently have 21 open spaces throughout the county across all 7 council districts. We're protecting 100 acres of property, and our parks provide green space within a 10-minute walk for almost 42,000 Baltimore County residents. Currently, for those that don't know, we're funded through open space fees that the county collects from developers when they don't provide open space on site during the course of the development review process. That amount is based on a fixed percentage in county law. So it's been a good partnership over many years. The problem with that funding is really twofold. Number one, development fluctuates, and so does the county's ability to collect its fees. Developers often obtain waivers and variances so they don't have to pay the fees, and when they don't do that, we don't get our percentage. Also, our portfolio of sites, those sites that we manage and conserve, are growing, yet our budget remains fixed based on this statutory basis. So what past county executives have done, I think they've recognized the problem and have promised to give us $1,000 if we don't collect enough fees. So all we're asking on behalf of Neighbor Space is that we maintain that $100,000 if the fees don't reach that amount.
I just want to say thank you. This is the birthplace of Neighbor Space.
Yes, it is.
And I just have to say,
Yes, it is.
and someone might recognize the name, but Ruth Basin.
Holy moly.
Ruth Basin.
Yep.
Was the founder.
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you.
Michael, you said it was $1,000 was. It, 100,000, right? Right. Okay.
That's been promised over this year. It's been promised informally.
It was like 1,000 isn't going to do much.
I'm glad you said something.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.